Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time once again for some more of Steve Jackson's Sorcery. Now, I know I wanted to record this a few days ago, but got held back for a bit. Before we go any further, let's follow that ray of energy that passes from the ruined tower up to the Archmage's chamber and use our crystal ball to scry upon him and see what we can learn of our foe. Our first proper glance of him. Now, sadly, I don't have access to my painting area at the moment, but here we are. If you hear a little whirring, that's my computer fan there in the background. Now, it's been a little while, so I've painted the base. I'm quite pleased with how the base has come out. I've base coated the shoes and blocked him hair and beard. I've also done the golden skull decorations on the tips of his sleeves and the red details on the headdress. I'm quite pleased with the base. All I really need to do there is paint the edges of it. It might be a little while till I can get any more paint on the Archmage, but I'm pretty happy with this, so there we go. And there we have it. Now, as I said in the little clip there, I've not really got access to a decent painting area. I'm squatting in corners, dim lighting. It's not ideal for painting. So I've been painting a few other things, and hopefully this situation will clear up and I'll have my proper painting area back. But in the meantime, the Archmage isn't going to get a lot of paint work done. I also need to decide the silver looking trim on the black portions of the robe. Do I want it to look metallic, or like a light grey, or a light whitish blue, or what, you know. So I'll give that a bit of thought. Also, the inner robe, that's orange, isn't it? And also the skulls on the belts are obviously not skulls, they are depictions of skulls. Right, now, we have here our monk's disguise, and I need to think, when is this disguise going to cause me trouble? When is it not going to help? When would be a good time to take it off? Well, first off, I have the disguise, and it was hidden, meaning I could have missed it. So early on, I think it's going to be useful. How could there be a problem? Well, someone might ask me to perform a wedding ceremony or funeral service. You know, some kind of time where someone would expect me to show religious knowledge. But then that's more of a priest's role. A priest is more of a functionary. A monk is more monastic, more meditative. You know, they tend to keep to themselves, be relatively quiet. So this should be a good disguise for just kind of smooching around, as long as I'm not doing anything too suspicious. The obvious time to take it off would be to put on another disguise, which will be more helpful. So, for instance, if there are some guards guarding a door and I want to walk up to them and boss them about and say, "You lot, I'm relieving you, go on, your shift's over," or whatever, you know. Obviously, if I try and do that as a monk, ain't gonna work. They're gonna be like, "Who the bloody hell are you, mate?" Right. Let's carry on up this path, and there's some kind of nest, isn't there? Probably full of birdmen. The trail winds through the mountain. You follow it until a sight ahead makes you stop. Higher up the rocky cliffs perches a strange structure made of twigs, branches, and moss. Now, I'll look at it. It looks like a huge bird's nest perched on a wide stone ledge. If you were to climb the rock face up to it, you could easily fit inside. And why would I want to do that? I'm not Sinbad the Sailor. I'm not going to tie myself to the leg of a rock and you have a great bird and have it fly me off to some other location. I know the Steam store page features a picture of something, you know, like some sort of big bird or birdman flying a humanoid creature down from the Archmage's tower or up towards it. However, once I pass the gates of the fortress of Mampang, I won't be able to rewind time. In fact, I may have already lost that power, but the thing seems to be there. If I get flown in by a... But, oh, that's interesting. Look at those little... that little depression there where it's lower. So they can replace this gate with an open one or something. Interesting part of the model. Right. I presume I'm going to have to walk through the gates. And also this... Yeah, I want to go... Right. I need to stop being so inquisitive. Investigating is good. It's how I'm going to find most of the tricks and secrets I'm going to need to find my way through this. But additionally, you can search too much. Typically in a fighting fantasy book, you need to, on a first time play, you want to follow your intuition, search almost everywhere, but be aware that like a quarter or maybe an eighth of the options are going to be like auto kills for searching stuff or bad things. You know, you can search and find a good thing, you can search and find a bad thing. Most of the time, you'll find a good thing. I feel this is not a good thing. I feel I have my spells at my disposal, and I should just carry on. If I climb up to a great big bird nest, the birdmen are going to ask, why is that monk climbing up to our nest to steal some eggs or something? No. You put the nest out of your thoughts and keep going. I will head along this path. I wonder when this game does get released for consoles as a all-in-one game instead of as 3 separate games. If... Yeah, 3 games for 4 books, I know. Well, first off, I hope we'll get a PC release, but also, I wonder if we'll then be able to name our character, or if it's still just not an option. You head down a slight incline. Mampang looms into view once more. It is as though these mountain passes have been carved to ensure no one approaching could forget the citadel's looming presence. I'll look ahead. Looking at the path ahead, you see the ground appear to buckle where a sharp rock rim rises out of the ground. Before you lies a deep crater, as though an entire mountain peak has been scooped away. You should find a way across. The night air is cold, and once again we have been denied slumber. You scramble awkwardly to the rim of the crater, hampered by the hem of your robe. Then you skid and slide several feet down the rough slope, finally landing on what appears to be a path. The cold night lingers on. Yeah, check my stuff in case I've dropped anything. You are uninjured, but there is no way back up. I've got spells. A path winds down into the crater here. Another trail leads north to south around the rim. I'll look at the path into the crater. The path down into the crater is wider and more beaten down than you might have expected. This is not the main road to Mampang, but this trail must still see some use. You would do well to find somewhere safe to rest. Right, I am disguised as a monk. Would a monk seek solitude passing through the middle of the crater, or would they take the most commonly used path because that's the done thing and they don't want to seem out of trouble? Right, we got a building here, could be good. Building here could also be good. And this would allow me to go back down here, but I don't particularly want to go down there. I'm thinking the northern path or into the crater. So mountaintop missing practically, or just, you know, big crater could be a bad thing. There's a great fissure in the earth. So we got a building here, but we have more features here of interest. We have multiple paths, which we might get to have options. Building a fissure, crevasse. Right. A crevice is small. A crevasse is not a chasm. I mean, with a chasm, you're less likely to be able to see the bottom, right? A crevasse, it's narrowing as it goes down. A chasm can be straight down on either side. I kind of really want to go into the crater. I don't want to miss out on this building. And since I'm denied slip, but I don't want to come approaching this from a wrong end. If the birdmen are searching for me, the paths are where they're more likely to look, and down here in the crater, while it's open and exposed, I see greenery, possibility of hiding, and also they're less likely to look in there because they're seeing people walking around the edges, right? So I will go down. You follow the trail until it becomes lost under thick scrub. In the dark, you can no longer see the path. Yeah, absolutely. Sleep is long overdue. You try to lie down and curl up to sleep, but you are too exposed. Anything flying overhead would see you in moments once the sun rises. Better to find a place to sleep in the scrub. You get back to your feet, well, obviously. You fight through the scrub that fills the crater basin. The sky is already beginning to warm in the east. In the darkness, you can see little beyond your feet, but there is plenty of cover you could sleep under. I could push on and try and reach that building, but I think I'll just sleep here for now. Oh, damage! Laying your pack down, you try to rest under your habit despite the wind. You do not need to eat more today. You find yourself beginning to scratch. You seem to have got fleas, probably from the monk's habit. Oh, really? Ah, well, hopefully I'll be able to clean myself up later on. You get comfortable and rest. If that was it, if that's the only thing I get from a monk's habit, and it doesn't avail me in any other situation, that would be a trap item. The fact that I had to actively look for it, though, implies that it might be a little bit more useful. The remainder of the night is kept busy with vivid dreams. Jib-jibs are bouncing past you, appearing from all sides, their maniac eyes all but popping from their heads. Should that be their manic eyes? You are lying in You are lying on cool, moist ground underneath a tall, swaying tree. There is a nagging pain in your leg, and you look down to see a sapling growing up through your thigh. Can it still be part of the dream? I'll try and pull it out. You try to pull it free, but every tug makes you scream in agony as though you were pulling at your own tendons. And all the while you hear distant laughter from the east. You ate one provision, descended into the Argbad crater, disguised yourself as a monk, and met Libra, the goddess of justice, and the long peace. The Archmage remains unaware of you, meaning the man who tended to the beacon did not report me. He may not have the capability. You pick yourself to your feet and look around in the daylight. Didn't get a lot of health back, did I? A short distance ahead you spy a large black bundle hanging from a tree. Could be some kind of bat or a sack. Why would a sack be hanging? To prevent wild animals from reaching it? Let's have a look. The bundle is long, at least 6 feet tall, and jet black. This looks familiar. It sways slightly as it dangles from the branch. As you get closer, you notice a chain running from the bundle to a stake in the ground. You also notice the bundle is somewhat hairy. Some kind of personal creature, possibly even flanker. Getting closer, you spot a large pink mouth with a long snout. It is a giant bat, much larger than those in the Shamutanti Hills. Thankfully, it is still asleep, hanging upside down with its wings folded around. The creature snores deeply. What is the chain for? You follow the chain with your eyes from the ground to the bat's leg. It has enough length to let the bat fly to the tree, but not much further. Who would trap a giant bat in the middle of a crater? I'm gonna... Oh. Yeah. Why for the spell to yap to talk to animals? Come on, game. Zen, it's sleeping. It's dreaming. It might not be thinking very much. How? I just walk away from the bat, right? Huff. A big gust of wind. What? I don't think it'll quite blow the tree down. Sun. To wake it up. Sus. I mean, it's a bloody great big bat. I think I conserve my energy and walk away. The chained bat has not yet stirred. Perhaps you can slip past unnoticed. I will attempt to do so. Either I didn't notice it at all in the night. Oh, and I could have been attacked by it if I tried to move on any further, right? It could have come down from the tree and attacked me. So I chose the right time to sleep. Tightening your pack, you begin to creep past the creature. It sleeps soundly as you pass the tree. Let's pray to Khare for healing. Khare has heard you and you feel better. Much better, in fact. Near a tree. I'd rather be further away from the tree. But then the creature snorts, distracting you for just a moment, and you step on a branch with a crack. Oh, shit. Okay. Freeze on the spot. Hope it doesn't notice me. Run. It's chained down. It can't follow me. It could screech and maybe warn other creatures, or just flap its wings a lot. You stop frozen to the spot, hand at the hilt of your assassin's sword. The bat's head swivels this way and that, and then its beady eyes come to rest on yours. Spell, 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 spell! Oh yeah, now I get new options. Could pop a rock. Pep myself up. Zen, I can fly. I'll be like, yeah, bat, guess what I'm doing? Zip to teleport away. Short range teleport, as long as it's not towards it, that's great. I mean, it is generally away from danger. PZK, that's it. K. I don't have the mirror. I think zip. Yeah. You gather the stars into your design around you, trusting to luck as the ring of green metal on your finger begins to gleam like a serpent's eye. You close your eyes as your body is wrenched away. You reappear a fair distance away. The bat flies at you but is halted by the chain. Frustrated, it tugs at its bindings, which hold fast, but now that it is unable to attack you, it remembers its mission. It turns to call reinforcements, but you are too far to stop it. Yeah, I just run. You break into a run, reasoning you might be able to outdistance the chain that tethers the bat to the ground, but the bat isn't trying to chase you. When you look back, you see it has flown straight up. At the apex of its flight, it opens its mouth wide. I could throw something at it. Or cast a new spell. What could I throw? You look about for something to throw at the bat, but there are no stones, no rocks, no sticks and dead leaves. The bat opens its mouth wide. No sound emerges, or at least none that you can hear. There could be other bats. All the same, when you turn your eyes northwards, you see two dark shapes peel off from the air above Mampang. I've got to leg it. You do not waste a second more, but start running through the undergrowth. The trail runs in both directions through the crater. I am going towards the building! Towards the rim. It makes it harder for them to see me. Sure. Because they're more likely to be going for the middle. You head back through the scrub towards the crater rim. You are still running. Looking back, the bat has landed, but the shadows in the air have disappeared somewhere. They might reappear at any moment. You must stay low. The early morning sun makes the air glow. Time to keep moving. Well then, I'm not going to go back in there. You follow the path, skirting the crater's lip. On either side of the path, the low stone foundations, half buried in the grey dust that fills this crater. You look over the stones. The remains of buildings most likely which have been levelled or cannibalized, or otherwise reduced to rubble. Oh, remains of buildings, most likely, which have been levelled or cannibalized, or otherwise reduced to rubble. It's all in the inflection. It is impossible to tell what kind of buildings they were from what is left. The ruins are more extensive than those of Mampang. Really? Because that was pretty big on the map. The path forks here. Gonna go this way. Towards that building. You follow the trail, coming across a low stone building. A place where I could hide from bats. The wind washes through... Blech. The wind washes through the upper story, and gripweed and yellow bright spark peer out from the shattered windows. The building was perhaps once an inn, perhaps a trading post, perhaps a place for guides to welcome newcomers to the great fortress beyond. Now it has crumbled to half its state. I'll pick some bright spark. You pluck a sprig of bright spark. It has bright yellow flowers, but it is completely useless, as most wild plants are, so quickly you toss it aside to wither. I'll go inside the building. You put a hand on the frame as you step through the listing doorway, and wait for the bats to give up and go away. You enter the crumbling building. It is missing its roof, so you are exposed to the sky. Great. There's an option to eat here. Not a bad idea. With great care you search the rest of the room, but find nothing of interest. The building is quite empty, but carved on one wall is what appears to be a scratched message. So, when we are given an option to eat before the end of the day, often some event might occur when we are doing so. As we get to sit and watch, and it might be worth it, but I'll read the message first. You read over the message. That the Froben doors is L of Invis. So the third spell that opens the Froben doors is the spell of invisibility, which I don't think I can cast. Taking the cooked fish from your pack, you fill your empty stomach. There is nothing more here to find. You slip outside of the aged building and back into the light. I don't have the thing for that. That's going to be a problem, isn't it? No, I'll go back. Do you remember at the beginning of this playthrough I said I was tempted to try it old school, where you have to try and memorise all the spells in the beginning, and then then never look at the spellbook again for the entire run? Yeah, that was a real challenge the first time round. Generally you'd memorise a few spells that you liked, and whenever the opportunity came up to use them, those would be the ones you'd go to. And if you saw something that looked familiar, you would take a chance, and most of the time it'd be correct, and you'd learn something and be like, oh, okay, I can use that one again. And then you'd have the duds, the fake ones, which would where is it? It's not walk. Not gum. What is the spell of invisibility? Not fix. Yaz. You know what? Yeah, I can totally cast that spell. Great. Do I know what it counters? No, I should probably look into that. You step back onto the trail and look around once more. Paths lead in several directions. I kind of want to take this path, as it's nearer the crater's edge. Ooh, I could go have a look. No. Let's be cautious for now. You follow the path away from the building towards the edge of the crater, but there is no way up from here. The ground is littered with old stones. The air stirs a little, still cold but fresh. The path forks here, and this way I shall go. A few clouds move across the heavens. The trail passes a deep crack in the rock which extends southward, going deeper and wider. Smoke issues upwards. I will look across at the fissure. The fissure is like a deep wound in the ground of the crater, as though the earth had shrunk and cracked apart. There is no way across the fissure, but the path leads in either direction past it. I will climb up this way, and then hopefully back that way for the building. You make your way up the curved, dusty rim of the crater. An open pass leads forwards and up. The skyline is suddenly dominated by the looming spectre of Mampang. As the morning moves on, the wind begins to rise. Spellbound by its presence, your eyes follow the lines of the citadel's wall. Gnarled spires twist upwards towards the sky as if in agonized prayers to the heavens. Sharp angles and jagged points protrude everywhere. Demonic gargoyles line the outside walls. I will tear my eyes away from that ominous location. You try to look away, but you cannot. It is as though the towers have gripped your eyes. The sight would be enough to break the courage of any brave soldier, and its effect on you is much the same. You feel a knot of fear bury itself in your stomach where you cannot shake it. Despite shivering at the sight of the citadel, you feel yourself compelled to step forwards. Or walk away. Walk away now, stranger. You follow the path around the north side of the crater. As the sun climbs the sky, the winds rise. You soon come within sight of a low hut topped with a bell. I'll look at the hut. From here you can make out little of the hut, apart from the bell house above the roof and the rope that snakes down inside. The sort of place a monk might belong. There is no time to waste. Indeed. You approach the hut, squinting against the dust in hope of spotting any danger. It has wide windows and empty doors, allowing the wind to whip right through. The wind gently swings the bell on the roof. I'll wait and watch a little and hope the bats don't come for me. You wait, watching the hut to see if anything stirs inside, but no one moves. Or I could look at the hut. The hut seems deserted. Nothing moves inside. I'm not going to cast a spell. I'm just going to walk in and hope nothing really bad happens. You slip into the empty-seeming hut. And inside I go. Maybe I'll meet the ghost of a monk and he'll talk to me because I'm dressed like a monk. You approach the hut and step inside. It is as silent as a tomb. Again, the religious link there. You search the corners of the hut thoroughly and uncover 2 vials of potion wrapped in an oily cloth. Blimbery! You slip quickly out of the hut once more, and now I can dock it. That is, I can cast the dock spell. What is going on with these directions? Where's a compass rose? Okay, so that way is north. Got it. These directions now make more sense. You leave the hut and follow the path in the direction of Mampang. The sun has reached its highest point now. You could almost call it its zenith. Time to continue. Back towards the fortress, where destiny awaits. You follow the path all the way around the crater to the far side. Gary Larson would be so proud. Sorry, was that too obscure? You know, Gary Larson did the Far Side comics. Like, load of them in the 70s and 80s, I think maybe even the 90s a bit. He put them in, like, loads of... I mean, he didn't... I don't think he officially called them the Far Side comics, but that's the kind of... They were a bit wonky, a bit zany, and the Far Side is just the name they've come to be known by. Very famous. You've probably seen one or two of them at some point in your life. Unless you're very young. Thin heat beats down from an empty sky. Despite shivering at the sight of the citadel, you feel yourself compelled to step forwards. No clouds, no birdmen. Where are they? They can't just be around that nest. High peak to my left. Watch out for that. You clamber up the far slope of the crater until you are on the mountain road once more. The sun is beginning to lower and the air begins to cool. I'll look down. There are most likely guards stationed with a view over the pass. This is the only route into the citadel and is certain to be guarded. Why? What advantage do I have from... If I approach at night, it will rouse suspicion. Okay, so there's a postern gate here. Dop. Dop is good, right? Walking off the edge of a map? I'm not sure why I'd want to go here. Like it's Zen? I do feel very much the front gate is more appropriate. If I approach at night, if they see me, it will look very suspicious and the gates will be closed anyway. If I approach during the day, I could at least pass as a monk. You creep forwards into the narrow rocky pass. This is the only corridor to Mampang. There is no other way. You make your way slowly forward as the narrow walls close in on either side. Well, yeah, I'll stop and listen. You still your breath and listen for any movement, but hear only the wind whistling through the pass. It's almost as if we are being given options to be affected by the fear of the citadel, as it slows our approach, the dread that it causes making us oh so cautious. Let's look ahead. The pass stretches on in front of you, curving very slightly as it approaches the rising citadel. The road is barely wide enough for a cart, and the mountains tower on either side. An avalanche could bury you in a moment. And are there birdmen up there, waiting? Climb the rocks was not an option before. And it was just move ahead, so... You grasp the rocks and try to climb, but it is too steep. You only manage to climb up a few feet before slipping back down. I hope nobody noticed that. It would look suspicious. The pass lies open. There are no obvious traps, and no ways around. This is one of those your suspicion is the trap kind of traps, isn't it? You make your own trap. The only way is forwards. You move cautiously along the pass. It is barely wide enough for two horses to ride abreast, but the walls on either side loom high and threatening. Starlight pulls around you. There is magic here. I will cast a spell. I mean, far seems like the obvious choice, but what else? Yaz. Would make me invisible. But then how would I get through the gate? Tell. There would need to be some counters Yaz. Oh. No far. Just Foff. Okay then, I don't mean the Egyptian god either, that would be spelled differently for starters. Zap. Counters Zen. Ooh, lightning counters air spell. Got it. Zip. I mean, for all the possibilities of using magic to enter the Nif? No. Nap. I don't want to make myself sleepy. Nip. Make me quick. Thing is, for all the possibilities of using magic to enter the fortress, I don't want to arouse suspicion. Sus. Sure. You craft the enchantment and a quiet voice begins to speak to you. There is danger ahead and above, the voice says. You must make yourself safe. Its message delivered, the spell fades. Foff. It could be an avalanche, could be birdmen. Do I need to see the thing to read its mind? Drawing the skullcap from your pack, you cast the spell. Thoughts drift towards you from somewhere close at hand. Such a dull assignment, someone rough and violent thinks. Staring down this little path. Haven't shot my bow in weeks. Guards. They're above you, staring down into the pass on the cliff tops. Well, in that case, can't I just, you know, be invisible? There is no further way through the pass, but perhaps you can be better prepared. You move back along the pass. You slip back along the pass away from the guards. This part of the pass tingles with the presence of magic, and I'm gonna be invisible. I will not skip, I will not saunter, but I will be invisible. Yaz, right? Not the terrible Dr. Karen companion of recent years. You slip on the pearl ring and cast the spell, and slowly a filmy light extends from the jewel of the ring surrounding your body. Now you can pass on without fear of the guards. I shall absolutely do so. You walk down the path. I'm literally going up the path, up the mountainside. How is this down? Which narrows further. Above, the guards watch the pass for you, but they are unable to see past your magic. But the Archmage is unaware of my approach, so why are they looking for me? Unless they've had evidence indicating that I was coming. I'll listen, I may learn something, and the spell might wear off. I'm pretty healthy, I could get caught. Yeah, sure. You stay still, listening to the guard's conversation. But I still have the swordfish under my arm, so I pulled that out. You ever seen the blade on a swordfish? If I listen too many times, the spell will end. I'll listen once more and then move. You keep listening. And I said to her, have you still got that harpoon, dear? Right, I'm moving. While the magic still holds, you can slip by. You'll leave the guards behind as you reach the end of the pass. Pretty much confirming that I couldn't have stayed there too long. You follow the path between sharp peaks. The dewy light from your pearl ring fades and disappears. The sun begins to dip, heading towards the horizon. And then the pass opens and provides you with your first clear view of the Citadel's gate. After 43 days of walking in hardship, you have arrived at Mampang. Oh, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the moment of truth. Look at that gate. If that doesn't look ominous with the great big skulls on it, then horns, what does? Tiny little skulls here on rocks. From here, you can make out a few swooping patrols of birdmen crisscrossing the city and the passes on either side. They are on the lookout for something. You have been too slow. But I literally haven't alerted the Archmage yet because none of the serpents escaped me. A few carts rumble up the road from the east towards the main gate, so if I go to the east I might be able to hop on a cart, and then they'll search the cart when we get through the gate, and the bloke driving the cart will say, yeah, there's a man hiding in the back. You know what? I have arrived at the gates of Mampang, and I think that is a very suitable place to end the episode. I can obviously pick it up again next time. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and I do look forward to seeing you all in the very next one. I'm going to say goodbye for now though, and cheerio everyone. See you all soon.